Hello everyone, today I'll be talking about 7 Genshin Impact beginner tips that I wish I knew when I first started playing. I compiled these tips based on the most popular advice recommended on forums and as well based on my own experience. These tips will help you save resources, time, headaches, and even real life money if you decide to invest in this game. I've definitely made some of these mistakes and I would have been quite a bit further ahead in this game if I knew these tips ahead of time. With that in mind, let's jump right into it. The first tip is always grab everything that you find. Pretty much every material that you find in Genshin Impact has a purpose, and that includes leveling up your characters, and sometimes, more importantly, that the beginners miss out, is the characters that you don't have yet. You want to be doing what's called pre-farming. So saving up materials ahead of time, even before you get the characters. Materials are also used for crafting for potions, food, weapons, resonant stones, fishing baits, and so much more. These might be things that you don't have the ability to craft yet, but you will unlock them later on. Even if you get to higher levels and you still don't need these items, you can always throw it into your parametric transformers, which you'll get in higher levels, and get some mora and material back. While you don't need to go out of your way to grab everything, because that becomes a chore, you should grab it if you just so happen to come across it. And don't worry about having too much, because it'll be very easy to spend the resource. Tip number 2 is save your fragile resin until your AR 45 plus or adventure rank 45 plus. So if you press M on your keyboard and hover over this, these are your original resins, which you have to spend at around 40 per domain in order to collect the treasure rewards. But if you press the plus sign here and you see this moon here, these are the fragile resins, which allow you to obtain 60 original resins. So fragile resin allow you to replenish 60 original resin for each usage, and original resins are needed to collect rewards from artifacts and or talent domains. The main reason for this is because at AR 45 plus, you're guaranteed at least 1 5-star every run. At the same time, when you get to higher ARs, you're likely to run out of story contents and even side quests. And you may be spending your time instead on getting the best artifacts for your characters, which is very time and resin intensive. Combining these two factors together, the optimal time therefore is to wait until your AR 45 plus and you've run out of content before spending your fragile resins. Tip number 3 is don't level up every character, talents, or weapons. After playing the game for a while, you're stockpiling up on mora and resources, and you may be tempted to invest them back into your characters to make them stronger. Well, this is a reasonable thing to do. You just want to be selective at where you're spending the resources. Leveling things up in Genshin gets more expensive the higher up the level it is. Take for example, going from talent level 5 to level 6, it requires 37,500 mora, but going from level 8 to level 9 requires 450,000 mora. I fell to the trap too where I've leveled up something just because I have the resources to do it, but when it came to leveling up the character or talents I wanted the most, and the ones that needed to beat certain game content, I ran out of resources at that time and had to start farming for it. For beginners, I would just recommending leveling up what you need to advance the story quests and content, and as you develop better understanding of the game and what character and talents are good, then you can start deciding to dedicating your resource to them. Tip number 4 is using the Genshin interactive map. In Genshin Impact, there's a lot of things you need to find, such as chests, materials, enemies, puzzles, and more. Sometimes even if it's marked on your map, it may be hard to find because there are a lot of verticality in Genshin Impact, and there's also a lot of hidden rooms and chambers in this game. So what the Genshin interactive map does is it marks the location of everything in Genshin, and if you click on the specific item, there are more detailed descriptions on where exactly the item is. This interactive map has been super helpful for me, and I recommend bookmarking this even if you're a veteran player and you've just found out about this. Link to the website will be in the description. Tip number 5 is using the Welcome Moon, as it is the most cost efficient way to get Primo gems besides being F2P or free to play. So one of the most exciting and enjoyable experiences in Genshin is getting a new character, especially the 5-star characters. However, since this is a gacha game, it will take a long time for you to gain the Intertwined Fates and Primo gems from just playing the game, and by the time you have enough to have a character guaranteed, the character banner might have expired and you may have to wait a year or more before you can pull for the character you want again. Without going into too much detail, the long story short is that once you do the math, Welcome Moon is the cheapest paid option to get Primo gems, and I can do another video to explain the math if needed. The downside is that you can't claim all the Primo gems at once, since you can only claim 90 per day. It's actually recommended that you buy Welcome Moon well in advance of the character banner becoming live. When I pulled for the ICANN banner, I fortunately won the 50-50 at my 77th pull. Had I lost the 50-50, I was looking at spending up to $140 on Genesis crystals to get Ayaka, since I did not have any Primo gems left. Or I had to wait until Ayaka reruns, which still hasn't happened yet after 6 months, and that could still be even longer. Had I used Welcome Moon in that scenario earlier when I first started playing the game, I would have only needed to spend $25 over a period of 5 months. If your budget allows for it, I would highly recommend the Welcome Moon to get it as soon as possible, and I think it's also a nice, easy way to give back for all the amazing character, story, and music design that the game provides. Tip number 6 is spend your Primo gems on Intertwined Fates and pull them directly from the banner. Now this is only a recommendation, but this is something that I highly recommend, especially if you are just a low spender. So Primo gems can be used to replenish original resin, buy Acquaint Fates, or Intertwined Fates. Primo gems, however, is not recommended for spending on original resin, since they automatically restore and replenish over time. And also the game will give out fragile resins for free, which are worth 60 original resins as you progress the game through things like the battle pass system. Intertwined Fates are what allows you to pull for promotional character and weapon banners, which are time limited events and will provide you with the most powerful characters and weapons in the game. The thing about the banners is that there's also a chance you will get the standard character and weapons as well, so you don't need to pull on the standard banner unless there's something specific in there that you want right away. Also, the game will also reward you with Acquaint Fates more frequently than Intertwined Fates, which you can use to pull for standard banner. So, in order to be efficient, save your Primo gems for the limited time character or weapon banners, which only lasts around 21 days or 3 weeks. I also recommend that you don't convert the Primo gems into the fates, as there have been players who got confused as to which fate is for which banner. Once you have converted it, you cannot get it back. The most common mistakes is players accidentally convert their Primo gems into Acquaint Fates, and then when it comes to pulling for the banners, they don't have the right fate and therefore they cannot pull it and they cannot get the Primo gems back. Instead, what you should do is pull directly from the banner, and the game will directly convert the Primo gems for you. And so if you click, even if you don't have any Intertwined Fate, if you press this, it will automatically ask you if you want to convert your Primo gems into the respective fates for that banner. The 7th and last reason is don't pull for a banner for any other reason other than you wanting the specific 5-star. Now this might sound intuitive, but this is one of the biggest and most tragic mistakes players make. Some players may pull the banner to get promoted 4 stars, or some people may pull it to build pity. However, just because they don't have soft pity, which means they're 75 pulls in, when the chances of getting a 5-star dramatically increases, it doesn't mean they don't have a chance of ending up winning a 5-star that they don't want. If that happens, and say they're saving up for a future character, they will have to rebuild their pity from zero, and that could take at least 4 to 5 months even if they have full commune, assuming they win the next 50-50. Instead, they'll be stuck with a character that they may not want, and will miss out on getting the actual character that they do want, unless they spend some serious cash or wait a really long time. This actually happened to me where I was just under 30 pulls in and hoping to get a Bennett or some Beidou constellation during the Kokomi banner. I thought I was so far away from soft pity that it was harmless to try to pull to get these constellations. However, just a few pulls in, the gold meteorite came, and I was shocked to see that I got Kokomi, which wasn't a character that I wanted. Luckily, she's a key member of my team with some buffs that came later in the future, but this was a mistake that could have been very costly and one that I definitely won't make ever again. So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more Genshin guides and cinematic videos.